are welcome points.
A true underdog podcast. What an intro. What an
having
intro.
Some fun. Just having some fun out there.
That is Home Alone, like when he records the thing on the whatever it's called,
the
and
Talk
like
Boy.
plays it back. The Talk Boy. What was I just telling you? Old school when the guy gets shot in the jugular, and then it's like, dude, you got a dart in your neck. That's what you just sounded like. Neck. And I really hope that comes through on this podcast, because it's going to be really horrible if it doesn't, because
it's just I don't hear it, but I think it does. I think it works.
Steve and I have got some new equipment from a computer standpoint here, so we're both officially
like Beyonce.
Yeah, we're both on Macs now. We're both on the Mac game. We're ready to roll.
Born ready.
Wilson is not here today. He is busy. Also, just want to give a quick update to everyone too. I know we've been kind of, I don't want to say sporadic this summer, but we've had a couple just off weeks. Reality is life sometimes gets in the way. And so we're here. We're still thinking sports. We're still trying to plan good content. I think I don't want to speak for you, Steve, but I'm probably thinking another month before we're really fully back on every single week, no matter what, once the Lions get going. It's a little bit, I don't want to say down right now, but it's mainly Tigers talk is kind of what we're going to be talking about here leading up to the trade deadline. Then my guess is once football kicks off, we're going to get back into our normal 100% weekly routine. But just wanted to, I'm getting some texts from some people like, hey, where the hell is this week's episode? It's like, it's coming. It's okay.
You know
it's
what?
Coming.
Absence makes the heart go fonder, or whatever the fuck people say.
Yes, that's exactly what people say. But just wanted to call that
absence. Speaking of absence, know what's been absent? Tigers winning lately.
Dude.
What a transition, right?
I believe yesterday I had one of my vintage texts to the group giving my nerves coming out of a 4-game losing streak. I think you told me to chill, but then you immediately fired a great stat, which was 42 runs over 4 games,
35 runs. We let the Mariners only scored 35 runs on us this weekend.
Okay, so can we just? I just got to say it too. The Mariners looked really good. Like their lineup looked like World Series bound lineup with how they were hitting their top 4 guys. Was that us being really shitty or them just being awesome? Because I was torn in between of like, is this us? Is it you? Is it me? It felt like probably a little bit of both. But
usually when they say it's not you, it's me. It's you.
Yeah, true.
And that was, I think it was a little bit of us. I think it was a little bit of Seattle. I mean, Seattle's a good team. They're no slouch over there in the AL West. They're they're rolling. 5 games above 500.
Yeah.
They're
only 5 games behind the Astros. Astros have been absolutely on fire too here over the last couple weeks. But just a real, what I think we're going to talk about today, and Steve may have to jump a little bit too, so we'll see how much we get together, but we definitely want to focus on Tigers here. I mean, we're entering probably the biggest 2.5 weeks of the entire year for the Tigers, which is going to be the trade deadline coming up here at the end of this month.
Yep.
I think, Steve, curious your take on this coming out of this weekend. I have so many thoughts. I want to try to organize them in the best way. It's been a great first half of the season. Obviously not where we thought we would be based on where we are. Knowing some of how the expectations have changed, I go back and forth in my mind. I'm curious your take on this. Like, one, what a horrible way to end the first half, because it puts such a sour taste in your mouth of like losing 4 in a row, looked horrible, got absolutely killed. But then at the same time, if it was ever going to happen, I'm glad it happened now before the trade deadline, kind of show some of our warts to maybe, hopefully get some help here at the deadline. But what's your vibe, I guess, or your concern level too, kind of with what happened these past couple of days?
Concern level's still low. I still think the first half has been a little bit of an overachieve. I think we're playoff bound. We're going
a little bit. Are you nuts? A little bit of an overachieve, massive overachieve.
But then you look at the way this team plays, and you've sustained it for the last quarter of last season and the first half of this season. You've done this for 100 games now.
Fair,
right?
Fair.
Like it's
when you put it
it's
that
real,
way.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a good enough sample size. I think a little bit of an overachieve, but Scott Harris has ideas on how to make this team better. There's a blueprint here. There's a plan. They're gonna take steps to get better, and you just hope that it pays off. Now, are they going to go and try to get like a big name like Bregman? I don't even know if he's available or if that's
no way. Boston's not trading him now. They're only 3 games back. No
right.
way.
But
not happening.
he might opt out of that deal. So who knows? But
so what's
I don't know if they'll
what's
make a
your
big deal.
concern level? So what's your concern level? Give me a scale of 1 to 10. 1, oh my
4.
God.
4.
4. Okay. Low.
You're bound to get swept. You're bound to drop series. It's a long season, 162 games.
Yeah.
We haven't been swept. This is the 3rd series we've lost or we've been swept this year.
Yeah. What is it? Yeah, Dodgers,
Cleveland did it once.
Cleveland, yeah.
And then Seattle. So
yeah.
And we've won outside of those 3 sweeps. I think we've only lost like 2 series, 3 series outside of that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the team's still good. Arm's getting tired. You need the All-Star break. Couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
do you think Scott Harris, let me rephrase. Do you think what happened this past weekend was a blessing in disguise for Scott Harris, or do you think he already knew? We have the 20th ranked bullpen in terms of ERA in all of baseball. We have, I think, the 30th ranked whiff rate, which means we're not missing bats coming out of the bullpen. Like, do you think this proves that or shows him, or do you think he's a smart enough guy that he already knew, like, yeah, we got some issues here outside of Vest?
I mean, you sure hope he's a smart enough guy.
Hope. I hope. But couldn't you have seen them talking themselves into, like, you know what, we'll be all right. You know, Kane Lee's good. Chase Lee's been fine. Like, Holton's getting it together. Like, Alex Lang's going to be back. I could see them kind of just doing this thing that these Detroit sports teams love to do, the Brad Holmes syndrome of, like, we're good. We just got our guys. We're good.
Yeah.
They're going to be fine.
Certainly could have gone that way. I think the Tigers are in a very unique spot because the window of contending is really this year and next year.
Yeah.
Right. My hot take is that they're not signing Skubal. If they are, it would have been done.
Yeah,
is my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
I don't think they're going to do it,
and I don't think they're going to trade him either. I think they're going to try to win with him.
So you better go all in this deadline then. Like, that's my thing.
But then again, you have this the post Skubal era. What's that going to look like? Do you want to be shit again like we were the last 10 years, or do you want to actually have these young kids come up and? It's just a weird time. I think Scott Harris has a plan. He's going to stick to it. I think we are going to get better. I don't think we're going to get. You're not going to see Max Clark traded. You're not going to see Kevin McGonigal traded. You're not going to see Casey Mize traded. Right? You're going to see some frugal moves, or what's the word that they always use?
Conservative, stupid.
No.
Cheap.
Marginal? Shrewd. Is the word.
Not see any shrewd moves, is what you're saying.
I think you're going to see some shrewd moves.
Oh,
moves that may not look the best on paper, but fill a role.
Wow.
Right.
So what's your biggest need? You a right-handed bat or a bullpen guy?
I think both. I think you got to do both.
Yeah, you're in for both.
And I think what they're going to deal for, I think the pool of talent that they're going to use to get these guys are the Kiter Monteros of the world.
He ain't getting anything back. Come on.
Sawyer Gibson. He's a young and controllable MLB ready pitcher.
No way they're trading
compared to what, Robbie? Compared to what?
0%.
The 13th ranked starter in our system who has never pitched above AA ball.
No, what I'm saying is I think if you want to talk players that would probably net some type of return, that's where you look at, does a guy like Matt Vierling get dealt out the door? Like, it's that
and
type
he's
of
another
guy.
one. Yeah, Matt Vierling. But I think you do a package. But I think you do a package around a guy like that because do you want to take on, like I said, do you want to take on a pitcher from our farm system that isn't going to be here for 3 years and may not even make the big leagues at all? Or do you want someone like Montero who's he's gotten starts and he's shown some promise and he's going to be under team control for the next 7 seasons?
I guess I don't think let me rephrase that, Steve. I don't think they're going to trade Montero for the type of guys that they're going after, which they're going after rental relievers. You don't give up a guy like Montero if you're going after a guy that's on a 1-year deal, is my point. Like, could I see them dealing Montero for if it was like a Emmanuel Clase? I'm not saying they would do this.
That's so, yeah.
like Montero would be like the third guy in that deal. They'd have to have 2 high-end prospects going over too, but like that's the type of move where I see them including a guy like him. Because Steve, the dirty little secret here, Tigers pitching is shit outside of the major league level. They've invested a ton in their positional players, but they have really very minimal organizational depth when it comes to pitching. If you look at where we were 5 years ago with Al Avila, right? He was very big. Same with Dombrowski. He was big on taking like right-handed starting pitchers is what they did for all of those years. I mean, Skubal obviously is a lefty, but the organization shifted now. Like look at Harris yesterday in the draft. They took two positional players. First one was a high school shortstop. He weighs as much as me.
Yeah,
like, what?
Right. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. But yeah, I think our depth of our team, our organization to me is more in the left-handed bats. If you look at where we're at, we have mostly left-handed bats, mostly infield or outfield positions. That's where you say, okay, because you shed a guy like Vierling and a Lorenzo, let's just say, I'm just throwing it out there for maybe a guy that's got a couple years versus like, I think they came out and said, like ESPN came out and said, okay, who's the best match for the Tigers? And it was like David Bednar from the Pittsburgh Pirates, right? Like not a big name, but someone that can come out of the bullpen throwing gas. Like that's on a 1-year deal. Like that guy's not going to cost you the same as
he's not going to. That's where you're getting into like your 20th, 24th, 18th ranked prospect
for sure.
But what I'm saying is like a guy like Montero is going to or putting a deal together around Vierling, Montero, and Roberto Campos. Right?
Yeah,
like a decent prospect is going to get you a reliever that probably you're not going to see this trade go down and be like, oh, wow, what an incredible trade. But it's going to be a guy that's like under team control. And I think he's going to improve. I think he's going to be a situational fit, right? You're going to be a guy that's going to be better in our bullpen than he is on his current team.
Yeah.
Right. And those are the types of when I say like Scott Harris is going to make a shrewd move, it's not going to be Emmanuel Clase. It's not going to be
no way.
Aroldis Chapman. Right. It's not going to be Bednar on a 1-year deal. It's going to be something that makes a little bit more sense long term. And you're going to see him make some moves that, you gave up. Like no one is going to be upset that Kiter Montero is getting traded, but the value is going to be that he's a young MLB ready starter that's going back to a team in return. And you look at a team like the Pirates, you look at a team like all these other bottom feeder
Arizona,
teams.
Colorado.
Right. That's what they need. They need these young, teams with
young, cheap, controllable arms.
Yes,
is what they want.
Exactly. So that's where I think you're going to deal from.
Yeah. Interesting. Very, different. I get what you mean by shrewd now in terms of just like the fact that I'm with you. I don't see the Tigers veering as much as I want them to, veering from their plan of we're going to go after, unless the asking price is just super cheap, which bullpen help tends to be that way, right? You may have to give up your 9th best prospect for a guy. Harris has shown they want these guys that are on, have a couple years on the deal because but again, that's just going to cost more. I think they need at least 2 bullpen arms at the deadline. I think you get a guy like Bednar plus there's a couple guys from Arizona. There's this Griffin Jacks from Minnesota who's pretty good. But again, Cade Smith, it's going to be tough in division to see Cleveland or Minnesota doing that. I wish that they could, but if you could tell me, hey, we can go out and get Cade Smith and David Bednar, now I'm good.
Sure. That's great. Awesome.
But it's also
you're going to have to give up cap. It's going to cost.
And
then you look at a guy, I think we're going to do maybe more shrewd in the bullpen piece. And then probably if there is a bigger move, I think it would be for a bat. Right.
Yeah,
and I look at guys like Brian Reynolds out of Pittsburgh, which some people don't love because of his contract, but his contract isn't bad at all. It's $20 million a year.
Ooh, maybe a little Bednar.
Bednar and Reynolds for
something. Whatever.
Right. Because the Pittsburgh Pirates, again, you got to look at the way that these teams all operate independently of one another. Yeah. Right. Is a team going to be jumping for a deal around Vierling, Thyron Lorenzo and Kiter Montero? No.
Right.
But would a team like the Pirates, who traditionally never have a significant payroll, be willing to just say, hey, you're going to take the rest of this deal? Okay, here you go. Give us whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And then Brian Reynolds having a shit year, but a pretty good player all around otherwise. And that's a guy that's going to come in and hit 6th or 7th in this lineup. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He instantly makes the team better. I think he'll play better. He's been better since he had a terrible May, but has been better since.
Yeah.
Guys like Taylor Ward in LA, another shit team over there.
Yeah.
That team that should have traded Mike Trout 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And they'd be in a way better place. But now you got Taylor Ward, free agent in 2027, and big right-handed bat. Doesn't hit for average, but hits for power. Again, that's the kind of guy that you want. Like, okay, this guy's going to come in and hit 7th in your lineup.
Yeah.
Awesome. I
think it's probably, I think it's like, strategic bullpen help. I can tell your daughter's fired up about this too, Steve. She's jazzed up. I love it.
Yeah. Let me hit that mute button here because.
No, dog, you're good.
Yeah, that's my son too, by the way.
Oh, is it? Wow. Impressive. He sounds like Tommy Canley. He sounds like Tommy Canley yesterday, which Wilson's going to audit. Wilson's going to edit this out, so you won't even be able to hear it. But still, it's fun for conversation. No, I was just going to say too. Like, I think it's a strategic bullpen arm that just gives AJ one or two more things out of the bullpen, and then I almost equate this to like the Chaz Lanier pick for the Pistons, where like you just need a guy that's going to like be strategic, and like if you want, like Suarez has been popped up, right? That's like the sexy name, which means it probably won't happen. Like you want to go get Suarez, Eugenio Suarez. I've always had trouble pronouncing that.
Yeah.
Guy's going to strike out a lot. He hits like 220, but he hits for power. And he's a right-handed bat. And he can play third base. Like, that's the type of guy. You're trying to find your Omar Infante, right, of the trade deadline. That's someone that can come in, play decent defense, and give you the power bat. They may not start every game, but, like, you're just looking to get better where, like you saw yesterday, too. Parker Meadows not hitting super well. Matt Vierling not hitting very well. You got Vierling, Jake Rogers, and Parker Meadows all at the bottom of that lineup now with Baez hitting 9th. That is 4 out of your 9. That is tough. Tough. You know,
and you have Vierling, you have Wenzel Perez, you have Zach McKinstry, 3 guys who offer very similar skills. Very similar skill sets, similar pros.
Yeah, for sure.
To them, and McKinstry's just having the best year of the bunch, who absolutely deserves to be an all-star, by the way.
100%.
You don't.
100%.
No one will sit here and say Matt or Zach McKinstry's a fantastic player, but he's having a fantastic year, and
for sure he
made the all-star game.
Same here. Yeah, I didn't even touch on that to start. I've been so fired up with just.
It's okay.
Like,
I mean,
Steve,
all-star game sucks, by the way, too. So, like, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, the home run derby, too. Back. Go.
Yeah, right.
I'm tired of that.
Yep.
I think Steve, I feel so weird with the Tigers here because I'm just like, it's been an awesome start to the first half, but yet it's almost like the Lions at the deadline last year, too. Granted, they had injuries, but you realize, like, I see the future of this team if we do not make a move, and it is a good team, not a great team, where this bullpen is going to come back to bite you in the ass. Like we said last year with the Lions, with the pass rush, it was going to come full circle, and it did. Like, that's why they ultimately had their demise. You just got to think, like, Scott Harris is in that same moment that Brad Holmes was in here with, I would argue, I mean, he's got a better team, maybe comparatively. I guess the Lions still have the best record in the league, so you could go back and forth on it.
Yeah.
But, like, it's very, very similar parallels here where, do I want to go all into your point? I don't see Clark or McGonigal moving unless you're, like, going to get Paul Skeens or someone.
Yeah, and you're not getting Paul Skeens. Pittsburgh would be... That'd be franchise suicide, trading away the best pitching prospect since Verlander, right? In his second year. It's insane.
It will not happen. And that's where I do think those guys are untouchable. In my mind, it feels like Harris is not touching those two at least, but the rest.
No. Well, there's no one out there to be had, right? Like, you're not getting, there's no Juan Soto deal to be had this year. There's no.
Bregman, I could have saw maybe. Bregman,
but his contract, he's not worth that because he can easily opt out.
He's gone.
Right.
He's gone.
There's no guarantees when you trade for a guy like that. So that's why I think a shrewd move, right, where you're getting a bullpen piece that's going to be around for 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, it's huge.
And I think that plays into what I mentioned a little bit earlier. I don't believe that Tarek Skubal is going to sign here long term. And this is, I know, a little bit off the beaten path of where this conversation was going, but I don't think they're giving Skubal $425 million. I just don't think that's going to happen. So
Yeah,
does Scott Harris know that in mind and say, okay, you know what we'll do is we're going to go make good moves this year. If we're going to get guys that are going to be here long term, give up some capital for it, but it's going to be complimentary pieces only. And if we don't get it done this year, I move Skubal to backfill my farm system.
Wow. I know.
Right? I move Skubal to backfill my farm system, and I extend Casey Mize, right? Figure out the Spencer Torkelson future, figure out the Riley Green future, and then build around that core. And now you got this fresh, young core of prospects coming in from a Skubal deal that you can then move and go acquire the next ace. Because at the end of the day, when I think of the Skubal deal, and I think Skubal's best, we are getting the best of Skubal's years right now.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
You look at guys like Verlander, who should have won 5 Cy Youngs, which I know will go. We talked about that last week, the great screw jobs of the Verlander Cy Young votings.
Yeah,
Max Scherzer, guys who won multiple Cy Youngs. Yeah. Even if Skubal does that, and you sign him to a $425 million contract that starts in 2027, how many more Cy Young seasons does he have ahead of him?
Yeah, it's a big debate, man.
Right?
It's a big
for
debate.
A guy that's only going to be out there one out of every 5 days, you can get not as good in terms of like Cy Young caliber, but you can get a front of the rotation starter from your system or via a trade somewhere that fills that role, right? And that's what I think this Tigers team is building. I think Skubal is the outlier of this equation, and I just don't think it's going to be a marriage for him in Detroit long term.
Man, that's such a hot take. You think they're going to trade him? That's a huge
next
hot
year,
take.
not at the deadline.
No, I know.
Not at the deadline.
No, I know.
But in the offseason, yeah.
I think that is a sizzling hot take. This is like fajitas coming out to the table.
Unless of course,
can't touch.
Yeah, unless of course it's like game 5. We go to game 5 of the ALCS and lose or something like that, and we're just one more piece away.
Yeah,
you don't want to let a guy like that walk for nothing, unless like this could be a situation where we could. But
but don't. It's a good Steve. I actually don't think it's that off topic because I do think it does. It all relates to what we're talking about here, which is, again, if we use the term window, whatever you want to use. I know we talk about a lot in football, like, how long is your window? Like the Tigers are trying to build a sustained window here, which is why I think they're going to hold on to a lot of their younger guys. But if your mindset is, okay, if we don't do well this year, we might shred or trade Skubal. That to me is, again, even another inclination of I really want to go all in this year to give ourselves the best chance. Because I'm with you. I think if you ask me in the core of my hearts, do I want the Tigers to re-sign Skubal? Yes. But knowing that we're going to be operating in a fiscally challenged team for whatever reason, it's like if you could give me Skubal at 1 year for 50, or they're signing 2 to 3 other guys that you hope are going to make it at 15 to 20, like I think the Tigers are going to do that. As much as I want Skubal here because I think he is a stud. It's not my money, so I don't give a shit. Like, if you want to sign him to 40, that's fine. But what is that 40 going to cost you that we're not going to get?
Exactly.
That's a Tigers. If this was Boston or LA, not even a question they're signing him. Like, no doubt. Because Skubal is
because of a $300 million, and a $300 million a year payroll out there is nothing. You're going to make that no matter what. That's why the Yankees make all this money. They have a proprietary network that they air their games on that people subscribe to. Right? You're not going to get that in Detroit. So when you say something, Robbie, like, oh, we're going to be in a fiscally restrained stage of operation. It's fiscally constrained. That's a relative term because I still think you're going to have $160 million per year payroll.
True.
It's not going to be 400 like LA and New York, but it's not going to be 35 like the Athletics, who don't even have a fucking city to play in.
Yeah, they're a joke. I mean, like look at Cleveland, Kansas City, and Minnesota all cut payroll this offseason. Tigers were the only ones that added payroll, but then it's just like, again, I talk a lot about the similarities of some of these Detroit sports teams, like outside of the Lions wanting to give out term. Red Wings don't do it. Pistons haven't proceeded to do it yet outside of K, which I get.
Yeah.
And the Tigers are right there. Like, they're going to have to make a call. Like, that's why I do think this Skubal thing matters. Because if Harris says, I'm not trading Skubal the next year and a half, that gives you a year and a half window, which means it's time to go all out. Like, it's time to go all in now, meaning like, I'm going to give up some of these prospects at this deadline, knowing that if we do not get a bullpen help, I do not think we will go to the ALCS or win the World Series. Like, as our team is constructed now, I do not have faith that will happen.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think if we don't get another bat, and it doesn't have to be Eugenio Suarez or some sexy name bat, but like we need somebody out there that's going to be like, oh, this guy is going to come in. It's him or Kerry Carpenter, right? And I'm thinking like a Taylor Ward.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
Him or Kerry Carpenter, right? Like awesome. You don't like pick your poison,
right?
Okay.
They need a right-handed.
If it's either of those guys, you got Zach McKinstry, who's an all-star, waiting on the bench. You got right, Wenzel Perez, who's had a good young player, right?
Yeah.
So you're replacing the Akil Badu's of the world and the Andy Baez's of the world in years previous with these guys who are better, and that's great.
Yeah. Right. Because they have had some, like this Jamani Jones that come up actually has been great. He's been he's been Andy Ibanez of this year versus last year. I'm okay with that guy in the playoffs being my last guy on the roster, but like you look at it now sometimes when we have our best lineup out there, you look at what our bench is, it's Sweeney, Rogers, like Vierling. It's like, okay, that's who we're pinch hitting for. Like that's a guy hitting 180 and Jake Rogers, Vierling's hitting for shit.
Yeah.
Meadows has been good defensively, but even that he's starting to stretch. Like, and that's where the warts come out. This team is not perfect. They've been great.
Right.
And it's not being negative. I think it's being realistic with like our expectations have changed with this team. You have an 11.5 game lead. You damn well better win this division.
Yes. And you can't, like, you don't want to play. And here's where it comes down to too. You don't want to play that wild card round. Like, no, you don't want to play that best of 3 series.
Because you know who you'd play right now? The team that just swept you.
Yep. You can get popped. We saw it. Like, we did it to someone last year, right? You do not want to be in that best of 3 series. So you got to keep your foot on the gas. And I think, the word of the city is like these trades around the margins. That's what all these teams want to do. But I think you just got to go a little bit past that.
I agree.
Right? Margin plus, where this is a guy, you get a bullpen arm that's going to be legit. Alex Lang coming back. Okay, great. Now you're adding, there's addition coming there. And then maybe get one more bullpen piece and a bat.
Yeah.
That in the grand scheme of things may cost you 3 of your top 15 prospects, but none of your top 5.
Huge.
Cool. Great.
Love it.
Awesome.
It's going to cost you a Trey Sweeney to get a move. Like, that's what it's going to cost you, right? A guy like Trey Sweeney or someone like that. Like that, level.
Yeah, that level. Exactly. I mean. A 4A player. Yep. Justice Bigby down in Toledo who's been stuck there. Like, and that's fine.
And I have no issues with that at all, because I think the dirty little secret, Steve, too, is our pitching has carried us. And if you look at where we faltered over these last 3 weeks, because really since like June, they've really been a 500 team is the reality. And that's okay. They've gained ground in that time. The pitching's what's let them down outside of Skubal. Like, Mize has been great too, but they've had injuries. Olsen's just coming back. Bullpen's not been good. They started your boy from Central one game. That Ennis guy, he did great. Then he got crushed the next game. Yeah. Like, the opener hasn't worked. Like, this team is not the team it was at the end of last year. That's why we
Tyler Holton, these guys that Hanafi, these guys that were just rock solid for us last year in pitching chaos. Aren't doing it anymore. So,
and that's okay.
Get through the All-Star break. Yep. Yes. Get your guys back. Get Olsen back and roll Skubal, Mize, Flaherty, Olsen, and Montero, right? Or then do pitching chaos that 5th day, right? Who cares? And use Sawyer Gibson Long, obviously another guy, but like those guys could be moved in a deal too. Young guys with starter games under their belt
for sure
could be parts of deals, and I'm fine with that. Because you got 4 starters that you can build around. Yeah. You got depth in the bullpen that you didn't have as of today.
No.
And then another bat that you can rely on in the playoffs that's not Matt Vierling.
Jake Rogers.
Right, Jake Rogers. Whatever. Yeah. Jake Rogers he had a good playoffs last year too, so I think he's got that veteranness to him already.
Yeah. Ooh, veteranness.
Yeah.
I like that.
Right? But do you want but to your point, right? That's going to cost us in one way or another. Like it's going to cost us Trey Sweeney. Trey Sweeney is going to go back to AAA. He's going to be optioned, DFA'd, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we can get a more regular player on this field. Jace Young, another piece that could be traded, right? Like
he'll be 1,000% will be traded. I would have no doubt that he could be included.
But he could still have value to a team too, right? He was a top 100 prospect. He just needs a little more seasoning.
Bednar, for a guy that's got I'm just using his because it's a great example of just like a low cost. Like think about when the Tigers were good or back in the day, like that Soria guy we had, right?
Yep.
Joakim Story. Like you just think of some of these names, a Java Chamberlain, who I know was not great, but like that's the type of guys you're getting here. You're going to get two of those guys in.
Yeah.
They'll be gone.
Yep.
Next year, or hopefully you can re-sign them. Shelby Miller, he just went on the shelf. He would have been a guy you could have gone after. Like, and you got to look at these bottom feeder teams. It's going to be potentially Arizona. They're 6 or 7 games back. It's going to be Colorado. It's going to be Pittsburgh, right? It's going to be some of the Angels. It's going to be some of these teams, Washington, that are starting to fall off. That's where you're going to try to pluck a couple of those guys. And like, I think if you look at what Dave Dombrowski was great at, he tried his entire career. He always went for it.
Yep.
And I respected him for it. He never really got it right in the bullpen, but come trade deadline, we were hunting horses. And like the way that he did that, Steve, I think you're onto something, is you could see some MLB players being moved. Like guys at
Drew Smiley for
level.
David Price. Remember Drew Smiley and Austin Jackson for David Price?
Yeah, that's a huge deal. That's like trading, Parker Meadows and, to your point, Kaider Montero, or Parker Meadows and I don't know, Reese Olson for David Price. Like that's the equivalent of what that would be today.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's, and I bet people would say, hell no, I'm not doing that. At the time though, you're like, I'm getting David Price. Like, okay. Like I'll like live with the consequences of what that's going to be like.
Yep.
We have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's what Lions are going to need to do, and the Tigers here, you know? So
absolutely. It'll be interesting few weeks. The trade deadline's what, the 31st, the 30th?
Yeah, we got, I think a week.
So a couple weeks.
2 weeks to go. We'll see what happens. Okay, Steve, I know you have to jump, or
I'm gonna have to jump.
Okay.
So, but it's
bounce. I'm gonna talk. I gotta talk about this Duncan Robinson contract real quick, because we gotta talk about it. But I will let you bounce, and I will talk Duncan Robinson in your honor. But
God, okay. Do I just hit stop on my end?
Judge, just hit leave, and you'll be out.
Where's leave? Oh, there it is. Goodbye. See ya.
Leave. Okay, bye, Steve.
Bye.
Bye. Have fun.
There it is. Steve is out of the building. Steve is checking out. He's got some family obligations tonight. So, anyways, just me to finish off this conversation here too. Like I said, I did want to talk a little bit about the Pistons too. They had a couple kind of deals come to at the end of free agency last week. We didn't really get a chance to talk about. But yeah, just wrapping up on the Tigers. I agree with Steve in terms of major need and help for the bullpen, a right-handed bat. I think the one thing we didn't really get to is like, how am I feeling at the end of the first half of the season? And like I said, I think we've way overachieved on what we thought we were going to do. I think we've proven that what happened at the end of last year was not a blip, and that it's real. And this team has shown that. They're going into the break with the best record in all of baseball. Again, even despite losing 4 in a row, they're 2.5 games up on the Astros in the American League at 59 and 38, which is just incredible. And they still have a 1-game lead over the Dodgers at 59 and 38. No way in hell to start the year, if you would have told me that, would I have ever believed you, ever. And so I got to take everything with context here, and just probably a sense of realism. Like, do I really think this team has the best roster in all of baseball and is the best team? No, I don't. I still think the Dodgers are the best team. But do I think with a couple strategic additions, this team could be close to the Dodgers and have a real fighter's chance? Yes. Because a guy like Skubal gives you that opportunity in the way that, your bats are performing right now with a guy like Riley Green, who's been great. Torque's been okay, but Gleyber Torres, like, you have some of these pieces where you can see if we can get one more bat, 1 or 2 more bullpen guys, maybe one more starter, what this team could be. I think the fact that you're already, the best team in the majors by record so far with a flawed team gives me optimism and hope. And I hope that Scott Harris sees that. And like I said to start, I think this could be one of those best case scenario situations for the Tigers where you get kind of a taste of reality against a team that you would potentially play in the playoffs in a Seattle Mariners team, they came into Comerica Park and kicked your ass. And I think the fact that they did that hopefully sends a jolt through the organization for Scott Harris to realize Tommy Kahnle out there throwing changeups that are getting crushed, probably going to need a little bit of help because they do not have swing and miss guys out of the bullpen right now. That is the secret, dirty little secret of the Tigers bullpen. Even though I think they ranked, like I said, 20th in ERA in the bullpen, they just their whip or their whiff rate has been horrible. Whiff is just how often do your pitchers come out and miss bats, and the Tigers are 30th in the majors. Outside of Vest, they just don't have a lot of good strikeout guys. You see that with a guy, right, like Tommy Kahnle coming in, who's been decent, but that changeup is susceptible to getting hits. Hannafy, when he comes in, right, he's a ground ball guy. You don't see these swing and miss. You're going to need that in the playoffs because when you get to the playoffs, it's your starter goes maybe 5 innings and then it's all bullpen from there. That's why you need 2, 3, 4 guys that can be ready. And that's what I think is ultimately going to be the differentiation here for the Tigers. And so I think it's actually a blessing it happened now. They got a tough kind of schedule coming out of the break too, which I think is, again, potentially, hopefully going to be a good thing for them. I was hoping they maybe could have salvaged this series yesterday. That was a really, really tough outing, but they got the Rangers coming out of the break, and the Rangers have been kind of a 500 team. So, but again, you're in Texas. That's always a tough place for us to play. So I think that'll be a challenge for us to hopefully get some wins coming out of there. And then you're going after you play the Rangers coming out of the break, right? You got some interesting teams in there, and I think that's where it's going to come down to. All right, can this pitching staff hold up? Because you could kind of argue, there's been some chinks in the armor here, and so do we think they're going to be able to push through? But you got Texas coming out of the break, then you got Pittsburgh, then you got Toronto, then you got Arizona, then you got Philly. So you got Texas tough, Pittsburgh. Hopefully you beat them. Toronto will be a great matchup. Then you got the Diamondbacks and Phillies after that. So, you hit the second half of the season. You hope they find their stride. I think at the end of the day, the starting pitching is going to be key. Can Skubal keep it up? Can a guy like Mize keep it up? And then can Olsen, get back to his form and Flaherty? That's what this team thrives on. They've thrived on starting pitching. They're going to have to continue to do that. So we'll see what happens here second half. We'll probably have some more updates. Hopefully, maybe we'll get some moves here coming up next couple of weeks before the deadline on the 30th. Quick update, too. Wanted to talk about the All-Star game. Just what an awesome situation for the Tigers to have, 6 guys going, which is just absolutely incredible. You knew Skubal was going to be there. I saw Max Fried from the Yankees called him and said, hey, do you want to start? Do I want to start? Fried ended up saying, I think you've earned it and you deserved it. So Skubal's going to be starting, which is really awesome. You got a guy like Matt Vierling out there, Zach McKinstry, which is super cool. Just a super utility guy, ultimately ended up making the All-Star game. How cool is that story? But I think it'll be really cool to see 3 guys in the starting lineup, really 4 guys out there if you think about it. Javi at center field, which he hasn't played in months, which I think is hilarious. Gleyber Torres starting there at second base, Riley Green in left field, and then Skubal on the mound. Gives me Pistons vibes a little bit here when they had 4 guys make the All-Star game. Only 5 guys ultimately played in basketball, but just really, really unique to have that happen. Then you have Casey Mize going as well and McKinstry, and then you have our Bat Boy going too. So just really proud of this team. It's always fun. I never want to take these moments for granted because you never know what's going to happen in baseball. But, I think this Tigers have shown that this is still a baseball town. Lions are still king, but Tigers can just keep winning, putting out good efforts, competing hard. Like this team has just as good a chance of anybody. And that's evident by the fact that we have 6 All-Stars, which I think is super cool. That's kind of it on the Tigers talk. Just wanted to kind of like I said, give a little preview of kind of what's coming up here over the next couple of weeks. Last thing I'll touch on is the Pistons, which I think is interesting. I know we've, NBA offseason is kind of in full swing here. I know we talked a little bit about some of their free agent moves, but just quick update too. I know the Duncan Robinson trade that ultimately happened. I think after all this stuff with Malik Beasley broke. But, Duncan Robinson ends up coming over from Miami. It was a sign and trade. We ultimately, ended up giving him, I think it was a 3-year deal, but really, really interesting contract details here that I wanted to chat about. So, Duncan Robinson, initially the reports were that he was signing, a pretty big a pretty big contract with the Pistons. It was going to be like a 3-year, $47 million deal or something like that. So you're thinking, all right, that's 16 mil a year. It's a lot of money for a guy that can't play defense, that can shoot with a team that's going to have some bills kind of come and due. But what I think is interesting is really his first year coming in is a $16 million salary guaranteed. But then it's actually the last 2 years of the deal are actually not guaranteed. There's only $2 million guaranteed on the second year of the deal. So this really could be a 1-year deal, $16 million plus a $2 million second year to kind of cut him loose, which if you saw Duncan Robinson in the playoffs, guy cannot guard anyone, but he can shoot. I saw he was at Summer League too, which was cool. He was talking to some of the reporters saying kind of what do you think he's going to be able to bring to the team. But really, I thought just a great contract overall. The fact that you can cut him loose if you need to, that becomes a tradable asset at the deadline too if the year doesn't go as you planned. So you really got him, Karis LeVert coming in. Say what you will about LeVert. We'll do a bit more of a season preview, but at the end of the day, the Pistons are only going to go as far as, Cade and Jaden Ivey takes them. They did not make a ton of additions outside of that. We'll see what happens the rest of this offseason. I know they got a little bit of cap space left still, but it's going to be these young guys trying to develop. And, Trajan Langdon came out and got asked the question, like, do you think our team is better? And he said, I don't know. I think this, Beasley thing really threw him for a loop and showed maybe a little bit of his immaturity as a GM not to really have a backup plan and or be aware of what was going on with Beasley, which I thought those comments were somewhat interesting that they were about to hand him a 3-year deal and they find out all this stuff going on kind of the day before free agency opened, so they had to pivot. But this is going to be a youth movement again, similar to what you've seen with the Lions, similar to what you've seen with the Tigers. The Red Wings are trying to build that. They just don't have the same amount of talent, in my opinion, as the other teams. So I think it'll just be interesting to see, is this Pistons team today on paper better than the team that they were last year? I would say no. I think losing Tim Hardaway, losing Beasley are two, and losing a guy like Dennis Schroeder are 3 big subtractions from this team. And really to replace it with Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert doesn't necessarily move the needle for me without having a first-round draft pick either. So it's going to come down to the youth and development. If this does not go well, I think you'll have a lot of tradable assets at the deadline. But I thought the Duncan Robinson move, initially I was a little concerned with it, but after looking at the contract, I'm relatively pleased with kind of what that's going to look like. So anyways, yeah, that's going to kind of sum it up. So yeah, what do we got? 43 minutes here. Not a ton more else going on in sports. I know there was some Connor Stallion stuff that came out over the past couple of days. He started chirping this weekend on Twitter, but we're just not in the football mood yet. I'm just not there yet. We're, I think, 3 weeks to go here till the Lions get going. I know we'll have spring or training camp getting started here pretty quick. So we'll have a Lions preview here coming up relatively soon, but focus here is going to be on baseball, any other updates we get from basketball. But yeah, anyway, so enjoy the All-Star game. Home run derbies tonight on Monday. Wilson's probably not getting this out till tomorrow on Tuesday. So hopefully you're tuning in for the All-Star game to watch our Tigers out there. And yeah, let's hope we have a bounce back series here coming out of the break. I think Olsen's going on Friday, and then we'll get Scooble on national TV on Saturday. So fingers crossed we get off to a good start. But yeah, thanks for listening. Hope everybody's doing well, enjoying the summer. Like I said, hopefully we'll get some more of the content here going once kind of the summer wraps up here and we start to jump into football season, which is the bread and butter of this podcast. But yeah, make sure, rate, review, subscribe. If you have any comments too, please feel free to leave them. I'm hoping next time when the whole crew's here, we can read through some of your comments. We're working on some fresh YouTube content coming out as well that Steve's going to be putting out there. But yeah, so thanks for listening to another episode. And we will see you next time on Take the Points, a true underdog podcast. See y'all.